Patreon for $5 a month. No monthly commitment. You will get access to all of her stencil SVG designs included in that price. And considering they're $3 a pop on their own, and there's a bunch of them on there, I think it's a great deal. And so that is patreon.com/Claire Cooley. You can join for free now. Also, want to let you guys know she has a memoir out that the co-founder of Sundance called an instant classic. That is Incandescence Rising Above Darkness. So check that out. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at Target, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, and you can order it from your local mom and pop bookstore. So I believe we are live everywhere now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all of them. So how about I bring Claire Cooley on? Ready when you are, Mom.
Alrighty, I'm ready. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm Claire Cooley. This is the Creativity Show. That's Bodie Werner, my son, who asked me to work with him, and I'm so glad he did. And he named us Mother Son Productions. So that's another place you can see our work, as well as his YouTube, Bodie the Movie Maker, his YouTube channel. So today's show is going to be unique in that we're going to share some videos of first the very short documentary he did when he was 16 while digitizing my portfolio of hundreds of pieces of art and home decor and all sorts of creativity. He said, "Mom, I have to do a documentary on you. The world should see your art." So am I one fortunate mother? Yes, I am, and grateful. And so he made the documentary himself, starting at 16, called Life of Art. So we're going to show you that. It's about 10 minutes. And before we show you that, let's start. Do you have close-ups of this stencil on this jacket? I like to show all the different ways we can use our creativity in our lives. So this is what I call art to wear. So that's one side of the front of the jacket, and then there's the other side, and then there's the back of the jacket. And these are stencils I designed from the original art from my warbler and wildflower collection of 26 warblers and wildflowers, all regional. So that also was a show at the Carpellis Museum here in Duluth. So now let us go to the documentary, and I'm going to talk through it instead of you hearing the audio, other than a brief section that Bodie is talking. I want you to hear what he said. But this is Bodie at 16, learning his craft by doing it, which is what we hope the Creativity Show, what I hope my work and his work helps you give yourself permission to explore your imagination and express your creativity and do the things that inspire you. Writing, flute playing, dancing. I've always loved mixing the arts, the visual, word, sound, audio art, and movement, which is why when I was asked to teach in my 20s, I wrote a curriculum called Dancing into the Arts, because creativity flows through every child because they're not judging themselves. They're not, I don't know how to do this. Other people aren't going to think it's good. I'm not as good as so-and-so. They're just enjoying the process. So framing, making my own frame designs. Here's in our previous home, a fireplace screen that I made like flames, and here's furniture. There's all kinds of home decor. The furniture I designed, the furniture I painted, and here's me carving the dishes that Eliza threw to my design specifications. I had done her a big favor, and so she said, let me make you a set of dishes you get to design. And it was all crane inspired. That was the Chevron corporate headquarters downtown San Francisco with the crane show. This is a gallery in San Rafael. There was a picture of the Twin Cranes Gallery up in Seattle. So this is the International Gift Show, downtown San Francisco. That's Nordstrom's, the department store. So it's a little documentary showing a lot of different places me and my art have been. That was a demonstration at the Santiago Crane Festival. That was the San Francisco, I think it was called the Flower and Art Festival. And these are some furniture I designed and painted that was in the Designer Showcase House in San Francisco. This is back in the day, how my very first painting there, we saw me doing Sumi. This is the first drawing that I did that looked back at me, and I fell in love with drawing and drew every day for 5 years. So there you go, the Lodi Crane Festival, where I was the featured artist. And then the Book of Cranes that I painted all 15 species and published by Pomegranate Art Books. I got the great honor of being allowed to observe the cranes from inside their enclosure. It was winter. I was wearing every piece of clothing I owned, sitting there quietly to observe the cranes being natural. And that George Archibald, the director at the time, let me do that. That piece was purchased by the museum. Can we hear this part?
Oh, sure. Let me rewind a little bit. Hopefully it'll.
Yeah, this is Bodhi in our previous home, and I'd like you to hear his part.
The Natural World Museum of Art acquired her painting.
My mom never wastes anything. She loves to use what she can find, reuse, recycle.
Her lifelong focus of wasting nothing has made her a master of recreation. Her philosophy, create whatever we can by repurposing healthy local materials, is precisely what the world needs now.
All right, I'll turn the audio off now.
Thank you. Yeah, so that has been my lifelong focus is to use what's around me that's healthy, what maybe others wouldn't see value in or would discard, lessen the landfill, challenge myself creatively. And I grew up in a very economically challenged family. There was never anything extra. I don't remember ever having, and I think it's because I didn't ever have a birthday party or get birthday presents or Christmas presents. I mean, it was pretty, well, you know, there was nothing extra. And, but I never actually thought about it or was sad about it, because I've always loved nature, and there's always beautiful things to use in nature to design from. And my first artistic expression was dance. Here's me dancing that was a rehabilitation center, and there were kids, and I go out to the schools. That's at the depot. And dance, you don't need anything but your body in a little space. So that was a really economical, ecological way to express my creativity, which has always been my thing. And then I fell in love with skate dancing because of the feeling of weightlessness you can get while on skates. That's up in Coos Bay, Oregon, Wally, by their bay there. And that drawing of the Twin Towers I did way before 9/11 and that horrific tragedy. And Madeline, my dear designer friend, I did this fashion show of her designs. So I love to just keep trying new things, keep exploring, keep giving myself permission to try the next thing and not need to be better than anyone else at any of it. That was the North Beach Poetry Festival. That was in Golden Gate Park. There's some art to eat, furniture design, decor, florals, dishes. That's my sweet dear mother. In her, that was a drawing she did of me, and she'd almost died a few hours before that drawing. That's how creativity can flow through us, even in the most drastic situations. She had severe asthma and almost expired, and I brought the pencil and paper in, and she did that drawing. These are art to burn. Our dear friend Brian asked me to do a turkey. He was imagining on a skateboard, but it turned into this number of different art to burn that we would bring out to Golden Gate Park and build it over a joggy stroller from all burnable, non-toxic materials, and then dance skate with it in the park and down to the ocean and take it off the joggy stroller and have a big celebratory bonfire. I modeled for a few different photographers who gave me these prints of that work. And so, like I say, I like to just whatever comes up that seems like a fun artistic exploration. Sometimes I make fun of myself and say, as soon as I get good at something, I do something else. But it's all about learning and growing and keep expanding. And that to me is the fountain of youth, is to keep learning, keep trying new things, not feel like we have to prove anything to anyone else. And there's, the video that my son at 16, who's always loved movie making, decided to do. Now, obviously, this is just 10 years ago when we moved here and redid the Emerald Lady, our home here. And so we got to see how what inspires me is classic. And that's what I always loved in museums is it's never in fashion, it's never out of fashion, it's classic and all inspired by nature. Though I do have some architectural and some people, but we're part of nature too. It's all connected. So whether our previous home, which was very modern, or this historic home, classic design, classic art works anywhere and everywhere. And that's what my interest, what inspires me, what my fascination with art, whether it's sound, audio art, word, writing, dance, visual art, home decor. I like classic, the minimalist, simple, elegant is what does it for me. So that's what I try to emulate in my art. That at the Carpellis Museum was the Sentinels of Serenity crane exhibition. I also did another exhibition there of the 26 warblers and wildflowers. This was up on Bolinas Ridge. That's how young Bodhi was when we started working together. He was the spotter to make sure a car didn't come down the road and while I was skating down it. That's back when we were the moving movie makers. He was, and then he asked me to work with him and named us Mother Son Productions. So that's what a friend of ours who had a video company, Colossal Video out in California, said to Bodhi. Drew Takahashi was a mentor that said, you know, Bodhi, you're the best possible thing is to learn your craft doing something you really care about. So it was so great for me that he wanted to do that documentary, and he learned how to be a movie maker by doing it. My other friend who mentored Bodhi, Marco Eveslag, it's won, I think, 9 Emmys for his video work.
Ding,
Ding.
ding.
Okay.
Yep. Got a lot of nice comments on YouTube. Joni B sent some hearts. How you doing, Joni? And you do so many things. I'm constantly impressed. That's someone else. And inspired to try more artistic things.
Thank you, Joni. Nice you're here. I'll always love to hear from you. And thank you for that, your kind words. Appreciate
And
it.
somebody named Wendy said, Wendy here, love this so much, Claire. Thanks for sharing your true magical self.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for being here and saying those nice things.
Great. All right, yeah, and feel free to drop any comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll make sure to address them. So, would you like me to play the next video?
Pardon me?
Would you like me to play the next video?
Yes, there's a bit of an echo, so it's kind of hard to discern the words sometimes. But the next video, polishing the Emerald Lady, right?
Yes.
All right, and that's us finding this beautiful, well-built historic home that needed lots of maintenance. It was being listed for 10 years before we came along, and nobody else wanted to do as much work as it needed, but we loved the bones and loved restoring it. So here's a little documentary of us, the process of taking it from what it was to what it is. There was lots of busy wallpaper, lots of dark colors, and the long winters with short days. I just didn't, and these beautiful hardwood floors underneath these busy dark carpets. And so it was all about lightening it up and letting the house breathe by taking the carpets that literally there were bobcats that lived in this house, and cats and children and cat pee. And so there was a lot of funky smells, which is part of the other reason it was on the being listed for 10 years before we came along and bought it. So with the amount of deferred maintenance that we could do ourselves, as you can see us doing it, we could afford this grand historic home. And because we're hardworking artists and willing to learn what we need to, how to rip up carpets, how to redo floors, paint walls, take off wallpaper, all the different things. We built in some furniture. We laid some linoleum, and I did what I never heard anyone doing, but it made sense to me on the 3rd floor to put carpet pad under the linoleum, so it's nice and soft, and it also cushions the sound from walking up on the 3rd floor, so that it's much more peaceful, soundproof. And so we had the furniture that I designed and we brought from our previous home, because it's classic design. It works in this historic home as well as it worked in a modern home. And here's one of our wonderful neighbor friends, Dennis Lampkin, and John gave us these beautiful marble pieces that then I had a marble tabletop, and they gave us these two other marble pieces that I made into benches, and those were making the boxes to hold the benches and the table and painting them like marble. Here's making upholstery for our futons that can turn from couches into beds. Here's me closing in so that it was mosquito proof, our dining room deck, and we built a deck behind the house where it was leaking terribly. We replaced it, and that dealt with the funky moldy cellar by replacing that deck, and we decided that the space underneath it would make a nice shop, so we used that. And the crumbling staircase wall that was just a funky moldy pit, we took all those stones out of there and we put them around the Emerald Lady so that we had a swale at the end of them to redirect the water coming off the eaves away from the house and the foundation. So all the moldy, funky stuff from the water being directed previous to us ripping that out was directed into the foundation. And so the cellar was so funky that the support beams had rotted at the bottom, and they were literally hanging from the joists, which you saw the 22 jack posts we put in there. Here's us taking that moldy, funky pit and making it into a cement floor. This was the part that our sweet cousin Jeff helped us with the concrete pour and learning how to build that retaining wall at the end of the shop. Yes.
Joni B said, so much inspiration and beauty packed into these two videos. Incredible.
Thank you very, very much, Joni. I am very proud of us for, look at that, we took that, we called it the Harry Potter bedroom because it was just this moldy, funky, mildewed space that you couldn't be in, you couldn't use for anything. And it was literally rotting the beams in the cellar and ruining the structural integrity of the house. And so I feel like we've saved the Emerald Lady from ruin, from collapsing in the center, and we've made it a healthy, ripping out the carpets and the wallpaper so everything breathes and there's no more mold or mildew, and it just feels light and healthy and a wonderful place to live. And to save this historic building has been greatly gratifying for us. And we didn't know when we purchased it that it was in the Atlas of American Architecture. We found that out later. But of all the grand, lots of homes in this area that are even grander, for some reason, this house, what was it called? Colonial Renaissance? Do you remember the architectural term they used for it?
I think it's Queen Anne's Revival.
Colonial Revival, I think it was called. But anyway, there's one other Duluth home, and there's so many that are bigger and grander and more opulent. But this one has a very unique architecture, as you saw from the outside. And so we got to save it, and that is greatly rewarding. Not only do we get to live in this and work in this space, and before COVID, we had, openings and screenings here where I could share my art, and Bodhi could share his, and we will do that again. It is a good time to remember that the COVID strain that's going around now is more contagious than any other, though it is getting less virulent, hopefully. That's what I believe the science is telling us. But still, we need to be careful, all of us, and watch out for each other and ourselves, and be cautious. And we will get through this time, and we will have, I'll get to have open studios again, and that will be very, very gratifying. So I'm looking forward to that. I love sharing my art and my home with you. So that'll be really, really fun when we can do that again. And it's coming up soon. I feel like it is around the corner now. And meanwhile, we are going to be part of the Catalyst. Do you want to tell them about that, Bo? Because you're far more informed.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the screenplay based on her memoir and the TV show Pitch based on her memoir have both been selected to the Catalyst Content Festival here in Duluth and the Lake Placid Episodic Festival in New York. And the screenplay based on her book also made it to the second round of the Austin Film Festival screenplay competition. So what that means is here in October, we're going to be involved in the live script readings and the live pitch competition. So we'll be doing this visual pitch of the TV show idea based on our book, and we will be working with actors to bring the script to life. That'll be a lot of fun. And we're also going to be, we also have the option of doing that in New York, I believe in November.
Yes, and Bodhi's book, Northport 1999, script and pitch were also selected. So all four of those things will be part of Catalyst, and live script reading, and up for, the pitches will be part of the, up for awards. So wish us luck. Great. So now, what I want to talk a little bit about before we see this next tour footage, which is a very, it shows the Emerald Lady far more appointed with my art and the decor and such, is I learned an extremely important thing back in our previous home when Marky Boyd of the Museum of Modern Art in San Francisco asked me if she could bring a tour up to the house. And I said, sure, in 6 months. And she said, no, how about in a couple weeks? And I said, Marky, the floor isn't even in yet, because we built that house from the ground up. And so we negotiated back and forth. I wanted 6 months, she wanted 2 weeks, so we ended up at 2 months, which was very little time for all that I wanted to get done before the tour. But what I learned that is so important, and I want to share it with you, is that what I did is I wrote a list of everything I wanted to do, and then I tried to guess how much time each one of those things would take. Then I put it in priority order. And so if it was really important and it took very little time, it would go at the top of the list. And if it was not so important and it took a lot of time, it would go at the bottom of the list. So as I went down the list, the most important things, especially those that were fairly quick, were done first. And I ended up doing every single thing on the list in that 2 months, because I learned that, okay, I'm going to give this etching this glass 4 hours. I'm going to give painting this wall with all the different colors from the house 2 hours. This is going to get 4 hours. That's going to get 6 hours. This gets an hour. And I stayed to my schedule so that I could divide the amount of time that I had that was reasonable to use in that 2 months without exhausting myself, without making myself unhealthy, but use the time efficiently. And what I learned, this is what has really informed everything since then. And I want to impress upon you how important this is, that when I decided, okay, you have 2 hours for this, I did it. And it gave me no room for the doubt voice. Oh, I don't know. Should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? Will this be good enough? Will other people understand it? There are 10,000 masks doubt can wear. And when I gave myself no room for any of that to come into the equation, I just trusted my instincts and I did it. I realized I did some of my best work ever. So now that's what I try to use that policy. Decide carefully what I want to do with my time. Allocate the amount of time I have before my time agreement with myself to be done. I call them time agreements instead of deadlines, because deadline is stressful. We never do our best work when we're stressed. So try to keep in the middle, calm, enjoying the process. Call it a time agreement and then honor the agreement. So decide carefully how much time is there to do this. Here's the time agreement when it'll be done, and then enjoy using that time. Trust ourselves, our instincts, and watch what happens. It's just beautiful when we don't give all that negativity that people can be full of, any of us, life can be full of, when we don't allow it any space, like the unkind things people say, just move away from them and get close to the kind, supportive things, including our internal voices. So you can do this. You have time. Let's get going and let's enjoy doing it. And that's my inner coach for my self voice. And that's what I wanted to share with you. Trust yourself. Enjoy the process.
Ding.
Yes.
Michael says, looks great.
Thank you, Michael. Nice you're here. And thanks for that compliment. Right, let's show the artist's home museum tour.
All right, there's just a little moment of me, and now here we go.
And this has far more finished, because first we had to, do all the restoration, and then we got to start really appointing the place. And of course, it keeps going. The next thing I'm going to do in front of you guys will be the 7 stairs series, the movable mural, and that will be up the back stairs. So that might be pretty close to the last wall space that I have to use in the Emerald Lady. But there's always other kinds of art and, writing, audio art, movement. There's so many ways to creatively express ourselves. It will be the end of an era after I do the 7 Stairs series. Then we will move on to Essence of Everything, which is inspired by the 4 seasons and the elements and directions and 4 different feelings and the 4 primary colors, all inspired by the idea that everything is connected, we to nature, nature to us, the elements, all of it. So it will be visual art, the set, there's the creativity cabinet, true imagination, true entertainment, our imaginations. Originally that was designed for, a VCR when Bodhi was a little boy, and while I was raising my nephews, I had, the regular entertainment, the normal entertainment, and now it's become what I call the best entertainment, our own imaginations cabinet. But the essence of everything that I will do after the 7, the movable mural series, will be combining the set, the wardrobe, spoken word turned into audio art, turned into a choreography, and Bodhi will video it. So it will be all the arts combined with inspired by the concept that everything is interconnected. And I think this is a great time, even though I came up with this as a degree plan, nearly half a century ago. And now I'm finally doing it because I decided back then not to borrow money and go to school to educate myself, but just get out there in the world and do my work. And that worked out really nicely for me. But now I've decided it's a birthday present to myself to complete that concept, that inspiration. And so I'm doing it. And Essence of Everything will be a demonstration that art, creativity, imagination flows through all of us. And if we just enjoy the process and don't compete with anyone else, don't need anyone else's approval to be ourselves, we can flow in any creative direction we choose. So it's not that I think I'm better at any of the different creative directions than anybody else. I'm just enjoying being me and doing a demonstration of creativity flowing through all the arts, visual, word, audio, music, movement, and Bodhi turning it into video. So that will be the big project. And then, there's always what's next, which is something that I also learned as an artist, that instead of feeling that deflation when a project is done, I always have the next project in mind so that I can just smoothly go from one to the next. As I think it was Carl Reiner, who did more television series than anyone else, said, his philosophy was done and next. So instead of getting sad that focus of my energy is done, I start the next project before it's done. I think it out. What do I want to do next? So that I can just go from one to the next without feeling lost or deflated. So that's another one of my hopefully helpful to you philosophies of keep that beautiful, medically proven to increase our happiness, stepping into creative flow, keep it flowing. And there are times it also helps us to not overdo our work. If we know that there's what's next to put our energy and to get our happiness from, this is the depot here in Duluth in my 20s, and drug rehab centers. And I started by volunteering, and then I ended up getting hired all kinds of places, which was greatly gratifying then and now. I love sharing what's helped me get through my tough stuff in life, which is creative reverie and the sanctuary of nature, which we all have access to both of those things. So that's what Incandescence, my Rising Above Darkness memoir, is all about. Because so many people ask me to write it, saying my stories help them to be hopeful. I thought, well, what an honor and privilege it is to share my stories of what helped me get through, to help others, because we all have difficulties, challenges to get through. So this is a universal source of joy, is creative reverie, and a way we can all access peace of mind, extend our serenity in life, is through nature. So that's what I want to share with everybody, is to use their own resources of imagination and the nature that is around us, we're all part of, to keep us healthy and happy, return to positivity. And there's a lot of negativity in the world. And
Joni B said, amazing advice. It clearly worked wonders for you with everything you created.
Thank you, Joni. Thank you. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to share these videos today is, as artists, we can sometimes be put on pedestals, and sometimes we're demeaned, as not being grounded, or, having our head in the clouds. And if you do a lot of different things like I do, you can be considered a dilettante. But I really get into what I do, and I go deep. And so yes, I have a variety of mediums I love to express myself in. Basically, if I want something in my life and I can make it, I do, because it's so joyous to create. It's such a peaceful, restorative place. So I give myself permission to design my own framing techniques, turn the closet into a sewing room. I just keep exploring, keep enjoying, expressing creativity with it, whatever I need. That piece of plexiglass you can see Bodhi in right now, I carved when I was pregnant with him with a nail. I don't know how well you can see that egret in that piece of plexiglass. So whatever it is that I feel like I want or need to make my home, my wardrobe, jewelry, dishes, floral designs, I give myself permission to use what I can find around me, or people donate, or I get at used stores. So I'm being very frugal. It's fun, it's fast, it's frugal, and it's ecological to use what we have, economical, obviously. And I'm very pleased that my life is an example of that, how to create with what's around us, enjoy creating, and the peace and happiness it gives us, and not think what can I buy, what do other people do. Just enjoy doing it your own way. Up in the third floor, which is felt very crowded the way it was when we first came through the house, but we built in seating benches and triangular tables in the little kitchen and bedroom and bathroom there, so they fit right in the corners. So it's the shelves over the doorway. So we thought out, how can we have the shelf space, the table space we want without crowding the space? And so when we give ourselves permission to say, what do we want to use this space for? And that's where Creativity Retreat guests stay on the 3rd floor there. Then we ask, what do we want it to feel like? And what do we have to work with? If we do that, we challenge ourselves to use what we have to work with instead of just, buying everything we think we need. Use what we have, and it's more creatively inspiring, and it challenges our imagination. And now we have the I call the underground gallery, that there's a little grotto down there because in the summer it can get very hot upstairs, but it's always cool down in the cellar. And here's the shop we made under that moldy, leaking deck that is a roof we can walk on, that we made our own recording studio where I recorded my audiobook and Bodhi's recording his audiobook. And so we use what's around us, the space we have, to keep expanding the creative possibilities. And there's a work table that turns into a ping pong table. And so it's important to have some fun and recreation in life. So you gotta, and it was so moldy down there. I mentioned earlier that the support beams weren't even touching the ground. The floor was wet all the time, and so they had rotted on the bottom. So they were literally just hanging from the joists. And I'm so glad we got the house when we did, because it could have collapsed in the middle. The support beams. So now with 22 jack posts, it's solid again. So there we go. That's a lot of stuff that we've from a new modern house that the Museum of Modern Art brought tours out to, that I did every inch on the interior, from the copper stair rail and the etched glass and the wall treatments that I used wood glue and tint in to make it look like it was all sponged, to this historic home. There's a lot of challenges we've taken on, and one of them, we're going to show the last video here for today, the 100-year-old carriage house that we've turned into a studio. So are you ready for that?
I am, you are.
Okay, unless you want to say something in between.
Thanks for all the comments, guys. Let's start the next video.
You can have the soundtrack on this one, I think.
You want it?
Sure.
To a video art exercise studio
Sure.
where I can even skate dance. Let's show you doing that. Come on in. We decided to reclaim it as a living room. So we're going to use another space to turn into a video art exercise studio where I can even skate dance. Let's show you how we're doing that as the DIY Not Duo. One of the things I love about this project we're doing now is, for the first time in my life, I'm going to have a studio that's outside of my home. And what I really love about it is the commute. Oh, look how easy that was.
Delone on YouTube said, "You guys are pros."
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Let's go upstairs. Probably don't want to get. No. That's probably not a shot the world needs. They want it, but they can't have it. Come on up. So this space actually used to be an apartment. The upstairs was so creepy that Bodhi used it for his No Hero horror film.
I'll pause it for a sec. John Simpkins on Facebook said, "Claire and Bodhi, your program today encourages the spirit. What a great gift you are. Your words speak of deep understanding, of finding your path and making it your daily practice, with deepest bows in your direction." Thanks, John.
Thank you very, very much, John. And John Simpkins is an incredible artist himself and has made his life into a work of art. Very, very gratifying to hear that from you, John, and to connect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We found some artifacts from the early 1900s, some letters and magazines in the floorboards that we'll be sharing with you later.
1920s catalog of photographic art studies.
Opened a window that hadn't been opened in probably 100 years, let in the fresh air.
All right. Well, I have to admit, it's very gratifying to see all that we gave ourselves the permission, and we kept encouraging each other and ourselves to keep going, to create these things and to share them with you. My life philosophy is make your life a little more what you want it to be each day, and it keeps going in the making your dreams manifest direction. It doesn't matter how little or how much progress we make in a day. If we do that, we are moving in the positive direction, and that is something we can do. And it's what we need to do, because otherwise the negativity and the conflicts and all the bad news we're always inundated with can get us down, can keep us down. So we get to be happy. We deserve to be happy, especially when we wish happiness for everyone else. So that's creating and sharing it makes me happy. So that's what I want to share with you, because I know expressing our emotions stimulates our immune system. Feeling initiates thoughts. Thoughts make us smarter to solve our issues in life, enhance our lives. So step into your creative flow and increase your happiness. There we go. Is there anything else? Huh?
Fantastic.
Great. Well, thank you very much for being here, and we will continue the creative flow, and we'll get back to making art in front of the camera. But it was felt like the right time to share the modern home and the historic home with the classic style. It works anywhere and everywhere. So that's use what you have to make your life more what you want it to be. Walk lighter on the earth, be ecological, be economical. We're all in it together. Good for you, good for the planet. All right?
Great.
All right.
Yep.
If there's anything else that you want to share before we sign off?
No, just thank you everyone for the comments, and if we missed any of them, I'll make sure she sees them before the next live stream. And check out her Patreon, patreon.com/Claire Cooley. It's a great way to support this work and to stay in touch.
Thank you very much, Bodhi, for all your help. Thank you, everybody that tuned in, and thank you very, very much for the comments. Really means a lot to me. Thank you. So we'll see you Thursday at noon, every Monday, every Thursday at noon.